Good afternoon, everyone, and maybe good morning to some. We're going to start in about a couple of minutes. Just going to do a quick sound check. Thomas, are you there?
Yeah, Dan, I'm here. Can you hear me
Thomas?
okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Test 1, 2, 3. Good. All right. We'll start in a couple of minutes. We'll give everyone a few minutes to set up here. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone here on the presentation for Bluebeam and BIM 360 Studio. Should say BIM 360 and Bluebeam Studio, a guide to project creation, document review, and markup. That's quite the long title. On this call, this webinar is myself, Dan Coogan, and Thomas Morrissey. Thomas, say hi.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Good. Just doing a quick sound check there. Okay, so we're going to get started here. Hopefully, we'll wrap up everything within the half hour or so, and we'll leave some time at the end for questions and answers. Thomas is going to be our lead tech for this presentation, and I'm going to be his sidekick, and I'll be kind of watching the question dialog box here in our webinar. So if you do have any questions, try to address them throughout the presentation, but if we don't get to them, we'll definitely answer them at the end. I'm going to do a quick introduction of who SolidCAD is if you've never heard of us or done business with us, and then we're going to get right into the BIM 360 and Bluebeam Studio collaboration here. So just get started here. There we go. So SolidCAD's been around for quite some time. We got a 20-year plus history. We've grown over the years. We're probably around a little over 110 employees. It's definitely something we're very proud of, and we are based here in Canada, and we only conduct our business and work with Canadian customers. Some of the industries that we service, we see that there's a lot of different customers coming from architecture, engineering, construction, as well as the infrastructure, manufacturing, some of the plant, as well as all the in-between markets. So we've built our business and our specializations based on these industries, and we have teams and dedicated people to those segments of the market. And we're very, very proud of being able to address, your key issues and understand your core businesses. The great thing about what SolidCAD does is we understand the why and really get down into understanding, your core business, from the design, manage, and share themes. And I think a lot of companies kind of have this same, 3 buckets that they always have to deal with when it comes to their Autodesk software, that understanding how data is, created, authored, and how we have to, manage it throughout the life cycle, and how we're going to get the information out of our office, into the field. So we're really helping clients build the bridges between these 3 buckets. SolidCAD is part of the Cansell group of companies. We're one of the business units looking after the primary Autodesk business and portfolio, but we have a lot of other complementary solutions that integrate with Autodesk. Bluebeam is another big portfolio of our business that we look after. It's probably number 2 after Autodesk, and so we're very proud to have developed that core part of our company, Bluebeam, and develop teams who are dedicated to the Bluebeam solution. Some of the other solutions that we look after, again, there are different things from creation of data, visualization, to day-to-day management and documents collaboration, as well as getting the information and managing it later on and sharing that with outside parties. If you have any interest in any of these solutions, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of our people here at SolidCAD. We also provide a number of different services in our company, everything from your day-to-day training, onboarding of new staff, to providing customization solutions for programming and scripting for integration if you want. We really have a team dedicated to that line of work. We also provide a ton of technical support, which I'll talk about a little bit more. So if there are any issues with any of the softwares that you had procured through SolidCAD, please don't hesitate to give us a call and let us help you through that issue. SolidCAD is also, heavily specialized on the BIM 360 platform, and so we really understand the entire, cloud infrastructure within the BIM 360 portfolio. It's quite complicated. There's a lot of different modules, so if you are unsure of how it all works, please give us a call. We have a dedicated sales and technical people just focusing on BIM 360 solutions. Right now, obviously, we can't, be in person and meet with everyone and provide in-person training. But once we get out of this COVID-19 crisis, we do have training facilities all across Canada, in all the major cities. They're, again, a great place to take your staff out of their work environment and get them to focus on just learning. Right now, we're providing full technical trainings in the virtual world using our virtual workstation. So if you are interested in learning how we're providing those remote training services, whether it be customized or standard offerings, please head out to our website, solidcad.ca, and take a look at our training page. We do provide different types of trainings as an open enrollment, which is some of the pre-planned standard curriculums, but we also provide custom training solutions for our clients. Someone who might have something, out of the requirements that are out of the box, so not fit to the out of the box solution. So a quick snapshot of our company staff here in Canada. We have quite a few people just focused on the AC field. And we're also very involved in the community, and we do provide a lot of support to the association. So if one of your associations or user groups is not listed here, please give us a call. We'd be happy to chat with you and discuss opportunities of support. And again, we really focus on our clients' needs, and we really want to understand where your issues, bottlenecks are in your workflows. So if you are having problems, bottlenecks, things that you want to improve in the overall production of your work, please give us a call and let our experts help you map out that workflow for you. And finally, we're just going to wrap up here, is our remote solutions. So right now, with the current work from home situation, we're finding that a lot of our clients need some additional infrastructure support, providing virtual workstations or setting up ways to take advantage of cloud computers, computing, or networks. So if you do have any interest in getting to know more about these type of virtualized options, please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to discuss and consult you on those practices. And finally, our technical support. Any issues, with any of the products that we support, please, just reach out to us, solidcad.ca/support, or our toll-free number, which is 1-877-438-2231, extension 2, or that just spells get CAD1 and extension 2. Again, will get you our tech support live. So we're going to jump into the presentation for BIM 360 and Bluebeam Studio collaboration, kind of learning how to bridge the two platforms together. We have a ton of Bluebeam users out there, and a lot of BIM 360 users out there as well. And again, this is not a presentation about what's better. It's about learning how to take two really common tools in the marketplace and learning how to get them to connect to each other. The one thing that you should understand is when we are looking at this integration, it will require you to have a subscription to Studio Prime, which is an elevated version of the Studio version that comes out with Revu. So Bluebeam Revu just has a standard Studio collaboration feature, but in order to have it integrate to BIM 360, you will have to subscribe to Studio Prime, which is a annual subscription, and that allows you to have the backend, connection to a number of different tools. Everything here that we have listed on the Bluebeam Prime website, but you can see here it has a integration to BIM 360. So if you are, using any of these partner programs here listed on the Prime web page, and you want your primary design and collaboration markup tool, Bluebeam, to talk to them, again, you'll have to get that subscription to Studio Prime. And you can purchase that through SolidCAD, and we can co-term that to your existing Bluebeam maintenance. Now, if you're wondering what is Studio Prime, well, it's an elevated version of Studio that usually is administered by the IT professionals inside your company. And what it does is it allows you to understand all the current Studio collaborations within your company's Bluebeam user base. So we can see here I've got 15 users set up here that I can add and remove, and I can add people from outside my organization. And being the, say, administrator for my company, I'm able to see how often they're actually collaborating on those PDFs and what drawings and what are they doing within those Studio collaboration sessions. And you can see here, I can have the integrations added right here. And we can also create some automations in the back end, like creating automatic PDFs or creating other scripted workflows. The insights provide you a full understanding of the sessions currently happening in your company. So we can see here that presentation TMDK was recently created, and we can see all the information. So this is really important details that holds accountability to the people collaborating on the documents, and gives the data on the detailed reports to the IT and the project architects or engineers to know what is happening on the projects and how people are actually working together. We can also see who is involved on some of the projects. So I don't have anything right here going, but we can see everything and how often people are actually working in here. So with that, I'm going to jump into Thomas's presentation. I'm going to be in the back end working a little bit in the studio to make it a little bit more unique for this presentation of this webinar, so you can see how Bluebeam and BIM 360 are going to work in a live setting. Thomas, you good to go?
Yep, I'm good to go, Dan.
Excellent. So I'm going to make you a presenter, and the stage is yours.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. Thanks very much. I'm just going to share my screen, guys. Give me 2 seconds here. Yeah, I'll just make sure I have. Okay, can everyone see my screen there? Okay. So as Dan said, my name is Thomas Morrissey. I'll be the technical consultant running through the kind of differences between BIM 360 and Bluebeam. That's what I look like, if anyone is wondering, or at least that's what I looked like before the COVID-19 hit. I had shorter hair and I'm clean shaved, but I'm sure everyone's in the same boat as me. So moving on, I just want to kind of go through the agenda of what we'll be talking about today. Before I start, I should add that I'm from Ireland. So if anyone has any trouble understanding me, I apologize in advance. I've been living in Canada the last 3 years, and people have told me my accent has gotten better. So I dread to think what I sounded like 3 years ago. So bear with me. So today we're just going to be talking about a couple of comparisons. One of the things I always get asked is which is better, BIM 360 or Bluebeam? And I always kind of say the same thing, they're two very different programs, and they should be used kind of together and, through different workflows. So today we're basically going to be talking about project creation, how to upload documents, how to actually read information from the documents, and how to work together in collaboration and provide markups. So obviously Bluebeam and BIM 360 are two very different programs, but they do offer very similar features. So obviously both of them provide cloud storage. They give you access to view the PDF either online or within the program. Some have some project management solutions, some document management solutions. They both provide markups, and they both allow you to actually collaborate on a project. So as I said, it's not going to be a kind of grudge match between BIM 360 and Bluebeam here. We're basically just going to outline the features here that actually work in both and how to use them together. As I said before, it's there's two very different softwares. We have clients that we sell both softwares, so it's actually good that we do that. because when we go into a client's office, we basically see what their workflow is, and we try and look for the best workflow that will work for them. Okay, either using BIM 360 or Bluebeam or together. Okay, so it's always good to go in with an open mind. So we don't go in and say, okay, we're going to sell this person Bluebeam, we're going to sell this person BIM 360. No, we're going to sell the client exactly what they need. And if it involves one or the other, that's either way is fine with us. That's why it's kind of good that we have our hands in both pies. So before, if anyone is interested in either program, and if you haven't already, I do recommend that you download the free trials. I think there's a couple of different promotions on at the moment due to the COVID-19. So, you know, download the trials, give it a go if you're interested. Hopefully, I'm going to touch on a couple of features here that should make things interesting for you, and you know, it might compel you to actually look further into both Bluebeam and BIM 360. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into the programs. I might actually start off with BIM 360 first. So the first thing I want to show is basically the BIM 360 interface here. So Dan already touched on the fact that you can actually create a Bluebeam session in Studio Prime, and I'll actually show you how to do that in a little while, but I just want to kind of go through initially how to set up a project. So I'm sure most of you guys already know this, but I'm just going to do it briefly. I actually have one already set up, but obviously to say you have to be a account admin when you actually create a project in BIM 360. You come in here, you create a project. I'm just going to call this BIM, if I could spell, BIM 360, and I might just give it a little initial here, just so I know where it is. Obviously, I'm just going to give it a project title. This is a demonstration. I'm just going to give it an address. Let me make it Canada first. There we go. I always put in the address and the time zone, and there's a reason why, which I'll show you in a few seconds. There we go. That's how easy it is to actually set up a project in BIM 360. Then we just have to make sure that we have the correct members in the project. And before we even start, I'm just going to activate document management, because that's what I'm going to show the most today. I might touch a little bit on BIM 360 design collaboration, but we won't go too far into it. So I'm just going to add myself to the project here. You see that a lot of stuff I'm actually doing here is already set up. Like my email is already there, my company is already there. So when you actually have BIM 360 created, a lot of this stuff will be done before you have to start adding people to projects. So hopefully by then you'll have a very good account set up before you even start the project. So there you go. My document management is now being activated within BIM 360. I'm just going to finish this. After it's finished, that will activate in the background. And then when I come down here, I should be able to see, where is it? TM, there's my Bluebeam BIM 360 project. And you see here, that's my project admin. I basically see how many members are there. If I want, I can add additional members. If I go to my document management icon here, open the top left-hand corner, you see that I now have access to all the documents that I could have uploaded. Now, there's two different ways to upload documents in BIM 360. You basically have the plans folder and the project files folder. So we usually recommend that obviously the plans is just basically for PDFs. So any documents you want to kind of review that will be different from the projects, maybe you might have a different revision and stuff like that, upload it to the plans, and then the project files, you can actually upload Revit models. You can upload PDFs there as well, but this is kind of there's different features here that actually allow you to do more stuff with PDFs. So I'm just going to upload a PDF file into the plans folder here. Now I should say I'm not going to do it here, but before you do upload it, try and create a couple of different folders in here so people know exactly what they're clicking into. You don't want to have all your PDFs all in one row here. So it actually might be a good idea just to create additional folders and then actually create subfolders in here so that you can add different things to it. So maybe I might just create a quick subfolder, and then I'm going to upload a couple of files. So I'm not going to do that one yet. I'm just going to go in and upload this multi-page PDF here, which is actually going to be the same multi-page PDF I'm going to be using in Bluebeam. So you see here, the first thing that pops up, it says file upload. We will process your plan for viewing. And you see, it gives you a little step-by-step process of what you actually need to do. So you upload your file, you scan for sheet numbers and names, and you look review results and define layout. So this, what it actually does, it allows you to pinpoint where you want to take information from a PDF, and then BIM 360 reads it and then uploads that information for you. So I'm just going to do that. Give that a second to upload. 0 of 1. I'm sure my internet is a lot slower because I'm in the middle of a webinar, but there we go. So it's usually a little bit quicker than that. I just click this and I'm just going to go press continue up here. So it says continue to extract the information. Processing, don't worry, I do have one done already. I just want to kind of show you how it's done. In a few seconds, I will be switching back over to Bluebeam to show you how to do something similar in Bluebeam and actually read this information from a PDF. The important thing to remember is that this is, I think, it's relatively new technology that they're able to actually read a PDF text off a screen and then translate it into digital format. So if we go here to define, you see that my multi-page PDF has 6 sheets. Now, obviously, if you have a project that has like over 100 sheets, which is very common, depending on the project, you want to be able to read the information very quickly. So if I come in here, it says step 1 of 2, use image crop, which is this little button down here, to select the title block area below. So I know my title block area is down here, okay? So I'm just going to select that area here and it's going to say, okay, because basically I'm saying I want to be able to read this information in all the PDFs from this area. I'm just going to highlight this area and then it zooms in. I'm going to say next. And then it says, okay, what's the name? So basically it's looking for me to define a layout. So I'm just going to call this layout 1. So this comes in handy for future PDFs. So say if you have different revisions come in, you can actually use the same layout for the next PDFs that you're going to upload. So it wants me here to define where the number is going to read from. So I know the number is actually down here. So I'm just going to click on here to define the number, and I'm going to highlight this area. I'm going to highlight the whole box to make sure I cover all the numbers, because some numbers might be bigger, some might actually, I don't want to just cover the number. I want to actually cover the whole area here. Now I'm just going to look for the title. So I'm just going to actually use the whole thing. So I'm just going to go Autodesk, sample house, title sheet, and highlight that there. So you see that information is actually already after coming up. So it's after reading the number and it's after reading the title. So now let's go save. So that's saving. So that's basically me just after defining the layout. And the next thing I just need to do is publish that information, and then the PDFs will actually publish up on BIM 360. Now, again, my internet is fairly slow today, so just bear with me for a few seconds, but it's usually fairly quick. The good thing about it, when you get to a certain stage, when it's extracting the information, you can actually just leave it in the background. And what you actually get in the meantime is you actually get an email from Autodesk BIM 360 that basically says that your documents are being uploaded and that they've been published. So when I actually click this button here for publish all, it's going to read that all that information is already there. So you see that my elevations, stair sections, my elevation sections, house plans, house site plan, it's all been read off those little areas of the sheets. So I'm just going to press publish all. So that's saving, and that's publishing in the background. Okay, so I'm just going to, if I click this little arrow up here, you see that's actually happening in the background. And I'm actually it might take a few seconds, so I'm just going to go back to my other project that I already set up. So you see here that I already have one set up, so presentation 1. Now you see that I actually have a couple of different projects here in motion. The good thing about BIM 360, depending on what level of access you have, but I only want to see the projects that I'm involved with. Now I think there's about 10 projects there or so. So basically I can see all the projects that I'm actually involved with, which is very useful, because if someone wants to put in a couple of markups or there's a couple of changes to a project, I can actually see the differences here. So I'm just going to click on this one here. So it basically means I'm switching between the two. Again, I'm staying in document management here, and my projects, there's the plans that I uploaded earlier. If I click on one here, you see that I can actually view the PDF in the PDF viewer up here. Okay. If you come over to the right hand side here, you see that there's a couple of freehand markups. There's text, there's callouts that you can create. If you want to put them on the sheet here, you can you can change the line styles, you can change the color. There's also a couple of different features down here that you should look at. Obviously, you can put it in full screen mode. You can look at the properties when you click on certain areas. So if I was to click on a floor plan that had a wall or something in it, it actually allows me to show the properties that are there. There's different settings that you can change, so the appearances of markups, that sort of thing. I'm just going to cancel that markup for now. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because a lot of you guys probably already know it, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, if you want to go in and measure something, you have to collaborate the PDF first. So you basically have to look for a PDF that's already on the screen, and then you use that to collaborate the PDF. Okay, it's the same with Bluebeam. I'll show you guys how to do that in a minute as well. You see here, you can pan, you can make it full screen mode, and you can zoom the windows. Now, a couple of things you can do over here as well. So obviously, I can create a new markup. I can create a new issue. If I create an issue here, I'm just going to pinpoint maybe a certain location over here. I was going to say status open, and I'm going to say no, wrong, please change or something. Please change. Obviously, that's not a lot of information to go with, but usually people are more helpful than that. But I'm just going to assign a user to it. Right now, it's just me, myself here. So I'm just going to assign myself, and I'm going to create that issue. Obviously, you can put in more information and due date or location details. All that kind of information can be put in. But I'm just going to create a quick issue there. Same with the markups here. If I was to put in a quick markup, save markup, and I can create an issue out of that markup as well. But you can see over here, the markup is actually in there. Okay, there's also a history. So if I actually upload multiple PDFs, it actually saves the different versions. So right now it's working on current version 1. If I have a document of the same name and I upload it, it goes then to version 2, which can be very useful. Now if I go back here, I'm actually just going to go to my project files, and I'm just going to show you that it is actually the same. You can upload PDFs, but it works a little bit differently. Okay, I also uploaded the Revit project here, and you can see that the Revit project actually includes the sheet 3D views and the 2D views that are there as well. So that is also a way to actually use it. Now, this is one of the things where BIM 360 is set apart from Bluebeam in the fact that it actually works with the Revit model itself, and it allows you to access information such as this. Obviously, you can do certain things with the project. You can split the view. You can create section analysis of the project. I won't do it now because, again, that's kind of not what we're here to show. I will show you just one thing quickly because it's a big feature in Bluebeam also, and that's the compare feature. So I uploaded this PDF previously. I just called it overlay 1. But you see that it actually had 2 different versions of it. And down here, there's a compare feature. So when I actually press compare, it actually allows me to compare with 2 different documents. Now I can change the document, but I basically just want to compare version 2 with version 1. So if I press compare down here, it basically highlights the differences between the two by using the different colors. Okay, so you can see that there's differences here. There's like 4 trees that were added, and there's actually a revision changed up here as well. Now you can change it to a side-by-side and kind of split view, but I prefer obviously the other way as well. So that's one feature of BIM 360 that is really useful. Now it's even more useful in Bluebeam. So I'll switch to Bluebeam now just to kind of give you the same procedure more or less, but I just want to highlight a couple of different things. So in Bluebeam is basically designed to be a PDF viewer and to work and print PDFs. That's what it was initially designed for. Now it's come a long way since then. I think the markups feature is one of the most important features that actually exists in it. And the first thing to remember is when you actually open up a PDF, that's all you're doing. You're actually just opening up a PDF. So if I come in here, I open the same PDF, the multi-page PDF, you can see here that I'm basically just using it to view the different documents. Now, press Control button and you can skip between the two. But you can see that right off the bat, I actually have my markups straight away in here. And there's a couple of other tools that you can actually use. So there's different markups. You have your pen, your eraser. There's measure features down here. You can put in stamps, that sort of thing, okay? Now, one of the most important features that I actually wanted to show you guys was actually the Bluebeam sessions, because down here, there's a little button that says Studio, okay? Now, I actually had a studio set up initially with Dan. Now what I'm going to do quickly, I'm just going to leave this session, and I'm just going to show you guys how to set one up, because it's really very simple. You can do it both different ways. So first I want to show you how to create a project. So projects are very similar to what we did in BIM 360. You're basically creating a project in Bluebeam Studio, and that allows you to
Hey, Tom.
upload Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Let's do
Yeah.
a real one if you want.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah, I will.
online.
Perfect. You know, I'm actually gonna open up our session that we have currently on,
Oh, sure.
and but I just want to kind of run through how to set up a project first, and then I actually might set up a new session, and you and me can actually go in and start editing and show everyone how it actually works. So there's a little plus button over here for basically adding a project. So you see here, new project. You can also join an existing one, but I'm just going to say this is project test or something. Test, and okay that. So what that's actually doing is that's actually creating a project in the cloud that we can now upload PDFs to. So you can see here that you can create new folders, you can upload files, upload a folder which can have the files you want to upload in it. Now, with the whole COVID-19 pandemic, people are looking for remote ways of, uploading the documents they need to review online. So this is a very good feature for that. So if I went here, I just want to upload a couple of files. I want to add, I'll add the open files because that's actually one of the files that I have open at the moment. Or I can just go in here and add files. And same thing again, should have this added. Multi-page PDF, open, okay. And that actually is uploading the PDF to the cloud. And you can see it only takes a couple of seconds, but that's how quick it is to actually set up a project in Bluebeam. Okay, and the good thing about that is as well, so if I have this project here, I know that my PDF is now safe up in the cloud. You need a password to sign into your Bluebeam Studio. And if I actually right click over here, I can actually add to a new session. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call this session TM. And in the background, that's actually currently churning away, and it's basically opening a session again in the cloud that I can now access. Okay, so I know, okay, give it a couple of seconds and the document will actually appear over here. And you can see here, there's my PDF being downloaded from the cloud. Okay, now up here, you see that there's a little attendee access button. Okay, it's very small, it's kind of easy to miss, especially if you don't have this little down arrow here. So make sure that's all is open. And I'm just going to click here and you see attendee access. So there's a couple of different ways you can actually add attendees. So I can add it here by email address, and I can actually restrict attendees by the email address. If I was to unclick that, I can basically just copy this invitation now. What that'll basically do is it actually creates a invite for me that I can send in an email. So what I'm going to do to Dan is I'm actually going to send Dan a quick link for this session. Dan should get that in a couple of seconds, hopefully, and then he can actually access it. So I'm going to press OK. Dan now has that. It's not restricted anymore by the email address. You can obviously create an invite as well in here, so you can create it by adding an email invitation, or you can go in here and actually add in someone's email address. I'm not going to do that because I've already sent the invitation in the background. And then when I actually click on this PDF, you see that that's my Bluebeam session that's open. Give it a second to actually open. And you can see that Dan is actually already after joining that. Yeah. So I can see that now I'm actually not doing anything here. Dan is actually doing the markups at the moment, but you can see how it's working live. I basically sent out that invite a couple of seconds ago, and now Dan was working away, creating a couple of markups here. And the best thing about it as well is that if I actually open up this little dialog box down here called markups, which actually shows me then the markups list, which is a very important feature, I can actually see what people have added to this PDF. You can see that I actually had someone already working on this PDF before, and you can see that the markups are there. I can see all the markups that Dan is actually creating at this moment, which is really important because you want to see who's actually adding the markups. You can assign responsibility to a person. You can select the status and change, okay, what way am I actually, is this markup done? Is it reviewed? Does someone need to actually fix things? So you can create different layers of columns in here. If you actually come down to the columns part, you can actually create additional columns. Okay, and you can change the way they actually are laid out. If I just click again, so you can see all my different columns are actually in there, and they're actually laid out. Subject, status, all that kind of stuff is kind of laid down at the bottom. Obviously, some of them are hidden, but that's how important the markups list is, and it allows you to kind of see who's done what and why. You also see over here that there's basically a lot of information that you can add within your status. So basically, I have my session ID up here. So if you want people to basically just add a session that's already existing, you can just either send them an invite. They can also just join a session by using this number up here. You can see here, if I made a couple of different markups, maybe put in a call out or something here. Okay, and basically I could say, okay, I'm done with my markups right now, so I'm going to say currently reviewing, waiting, or I'm finished. And then my status is obviously going to set to finished. So that's a good way to kind of for people to know, okay, here is where I am with my set of markups. Dan can do the same thing, and I can see what you can also do. Is you can also send a if you actually click down on certain markups that you've already done. So say if I came down here, you can't even see it now because it's a bit too big. I'm just going to open this up a little bit. But if I actually click on my markup down here, if I right click here, I can actually alert an attendee, and I can choose, okay, so I know I can send a little notification to Dan and say, hey, look at this markup, and Dan will get a notification. Usually pops up over here and it says, hey, look at this markup. He clicks on the notification to go straight to that markup. So it's a nice little feature that Bluebeam Studio actually allows you to do. Now, in comparison, if you were to review something in BIM 360, you just jump back there again quickly. You see that when I actually click on a plan over here, all my PDFs are actually there. Now, if I click on this little button over here, you see that a little more icons pop up at the top, and you can see that we can actually submit stuff for review. We can also share, and this is actually, I think this only came out a couple of weeks ago, but it actually allows you to either share with project members by a link. You can actually share now with people outside of the project. So people that actually don't have BIM 360 licenses, you can actually create a link that actually allows you to share the PDFs with them through that. So there for some reason there's no icon there, it's just blank for me. I don't know if that's the same for everyone else, but it's the same thing. So you can just create a copy the link here, and then people have access. Now, another important feature is the fact that you can go into a PDF, and then you can start exporting it for review. Now, you can see here as well, I have markups already on this PDF. I have issues, so that actually jumps out. It actually jumps out in two ways as well. So if I go to my project home, I can actually see that I have PDFs here that already have markups and issues. And it's the same thing like I did in Bluebeam a few seconds ago. You can actually assign a issue or a markup to a user, and they will get a notification or an email. And once they click on it, it actually brings them straight to the PDF itself within the email. Okay, so I just want to run through one last thing before we I know I'm kind of gone over the time here, but I just want to run through basically how we create a review for certain PDFs. So over here, you see that you can download your source file. There's a couple of different things you can do, but you can see here, you can submit for review. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. So first of all, we have to create a workflow. So depending on how you actually want to create your workflow approval for review, you can come in here, you create approval workflow, and then we see how many steps you actually want for it to be. So I'm just going to put in one step for now. Obviously, you can have as many steps as you want, but it's more or less the same process. So basically it says, okay, route documents through an approved step, blah, blah, blah. So basically it says going through a final review, and then that's it. So I'm going to call this one, so review 1 or something like that. You can put in a description. You can see here that we have to assign an initiator. So the initiator is me. Save that. An approver. I'm the only one in this project, so I'm going to approve it as well. And then you can see that you can actually change the label. So we can have it from approved, rejected, and approved with comments. So if someone wants to add additional comments to what they've done. And then we can add a status also. Now, I'm not going to add a status because there's no need to. Now, what will happen is when we actually do this, it'll actually create a reviewed PDF for us. Now, we can also have a copy put into a different folder. I don't think we need that, but I'm just going to save this. I think I've done everything correctly. And so you can see that that's my approval workflow. So now when we actually go into that document, we already have that workflow in place. So now when we actually go to review, send that project for review, right click here, submit for review, and you can see that you can just click that workflow that we've already created, and then we just submit it. So then I'll get an email and I'll say, okay, basically, you know, notify members, me, save, put in a little message and say you need to do this. You have 3 days. You can obviously adjust how many days you want for the review as well, which is what you can also do in Bluebeam Studio. So I'm just going to send that, and then in a couple of seconds I'm going to get an email. But you can see here that they basically have they're obviously two very different pieces of software, and the main differences obviously are BIM 360 is in the cloud. Bluebeam, you actually have your own project, but then you can create your own program, but then you can create projects and sessions in the cloud that people can collaborate on. Now, I just want to show you one last thing as well. If I go to account admin, there's a lot of different add-ins. Now, Dan already talked about Studio Prime, but you can see here that if I go to apps over in this, obviously in BIM 360 account admin, and I actually click over, now you see there's a lot of different apps that you can actually start using. Now I actually have a couple already up there. So if I click on Bluebeam Studio sessions, you can see here it tells you basically what you can do, which is basically just what Dan was showing you earlier. I'm just going to open it, but you can see that you can actually create a studio session within Bluebeam through BIM 360. So they do know that people want to use both programs at once, and that's why they created something like this. So it's the same reason why they basically allow you to now open up Excel files and Word documents in BIM 360, because they know that, you know, it's not just, you know, one program is going to do all. They want people to be using different programs for their different workflows and to be using them together. So that's what I recommend for everyone here now, is that, you know, download the trial, start using these things together, especially when you have the free trial. You can get used to how to actually work with the different programs at once. And then if you think that one or the other works well or both work well within your workflow, don't be afraid to make that switch, because I think COVID-19 has really opened the eyes of everyone to see that they can now work remotely. It's not that difficult, and that there's workflows in place that allow us to do it seamlessly. Like you can see, like right now it's me and Dan, and we're actually we were working on a Bluebeam Studio project. He's in Toronto, I'm here downtown Vancouver, and you know it's as if we're working in the same office together. And it's very easy to actually do that. Now I know I probably ran through things very quickly. It's a good thing we're recording this. Again, I apologize for any of my accent attributes that have come through and you didn't understand me. It's probably too late now, but I think that's basically all I kind of wanted to show you guys. I know I probably ran over the time. I will just ask Dan, do we have any questions there that anyone wants answering?
Yeah, we had a question here earlier, just answered here, but when sharing the PDF link, what does the interface look like to people who don't have BIM 360? So similar interface to what the paid version is, but it'll be stripped of all the usual BIM 360 features. It's pretty much the same browser preview of the PDF within BIM 360. Thomas, you want to comment on that any further?
Yeah, well, I will add to it, because Bluebeam also has the same thing. In fact, that if people don't have the licenses, I'm just going to unregister here because obviously I do have the license, but you can get a free version of Bluebeam as well. So after your trial runs out, it actually reverts back to a free version of Bluebeam, and it looks like this. So it's basically like a regular PDF viewer, like Adobe or something like that. But you can see that I still have, because I'm actually in a session, I still have certain things that I can do. So I can still add markups and stuff as long as I've been sent an invitation to join the session. You know, it's still a really good program. You kind of still see the markups list and all that sort of thing. But this is what I was kind of saying earlier, is that you need to kind of get to use these programs and realize that, you know, they have these free versions of the software, so you guys can actually work together, and that it's kind of enabling everyone to kind of work seamlessly.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think we got to mention that even if your trays are not standardized on BIM 360 or on Bluebeam, you know, you can still offer them an option to use one or the other and give them the ability to chime in into your ecosystem, provide valuable feedback. So PDF is probably a lot more common now in the markets for many years. So I think 2D is still king. So definitely, if you could, provide them with a free access to Bluebeam Revu and invite them into the studio session with the PDFs that are being published out of your BIM 360 portfolio there, your hub. So, there's a great way, there's great opportunities to invite those trades early on.
Yeah, that's a good point. And another thing I'll say as well is that the fact that I know we harp on about how great Bluebeam and BIM 360 are, but it always comes down to user ability to use it. One of the things when I first learned Bluebeam, one of the things they said to me was 80% of people that use Bluebeam and BIM 360 and stuff like that only know 20% of the program or the software, which is a really important thing to know, because a lot of people think Bluebeam is just about the markups, BIM 360 is just about collaboration, but there's so much more there. It's basically about project management and converting the way you actually work with your project. So always try and keep that in mind. Always realize, like, I've been using Revit for 10 years, and there's always new things I almost pick up just by watching people do something else, or learning through working on projects myself. So you've never learned everything. There's always something else you need to learn, and just to keep that momentum going. That's basically the point I'm trying to get across. So yeah, I think.
Good. You know what? I think that we're just a little over our time, but we'll wait a couple of minutes. If anyone else has any questions, please don't hesitate to just post it in the question box, and we'll answer it. But Thomas and I will stick around for another few more minutes, and we'll just wait for any more questions. If you've got to go, thank you for joining, and hopefully this was a valuable webinar. And we will be posting this to our YouTube channel, so you can definitely head over there to see it later. Thank you again for the feedback, for everyone who's posted it. And one of the questions here we got, what is the speed comparison? The speed for comparing documents. So you can definitely compare documents within BIM 360 and use its cloud engine. And then you can also do that in Bluebeam and use your own CPU power to do the document comparison. So Thomas, do you find that the comparison of documents in BIM 360 to be a little bit faster?
I do, and you know what? I'm actually just going to show that, because I showed the comparison document in BIM 360, and it probably wouldn't be fair if I didn't show it in Bluebeam. So I'm actually going to show that as well. I'm just going to make sure I sign in here again. So basically, I was just in view mode there, and that's why it looks different. I don't have access to a lot of the tools, and I'm just going to go back to my full registered mode here now. So one of the things I just wanted to kind of show is when you actually compare two different PDFs. Now I'm going to use the same PDFs that I used earlier. So it's basically the overlay one. I'm just going to open up this overlay here, and I'm actually going to go to document. I'm going to go compare document here, and it's basically going to say, okay, what documents am I comparing? So I just want to make sure I'm on the same one. So I'm basically comparing this overlay 1, and I want to compare this overlay 2. Okay, and let's go split screen, synchronize. You'll see what that does in a minute. I can turn on the dimmer if I wanted to make one grade out a bit more. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the split screen synchronize on. You'll see why in a second. So what that basically does now, it's opening up two documents simultaneously that I can now look at. And you can see here that it actually highlights the different features of the documents. So you can see, because I have synchronize on, when I move one document, the other document moves. Okay, but you see how important this is. If you get different PDFs with different revisions, Bluebeam kind of points them out for you and puts a revision cloud over it, and it actually puts it in the markups list also, so you can see the differences. Now, BIM 360 has the same. You saw that BIM 360 has the same functionality, except it's probably not as helpful, because it basically just shows you it in different colors, and this kind of outlines exactly what the differences are and how you can actually click on the different things there. So that's really nice to be able to do that. We were actually working with a couple of clients, and this was one of their favorite features, because it actually allows you to do something like this. And you can understand if you have maybe a city planner is looking at a PDF, and then they have a different revision comes in, they can actually look at the differences, just like this, just what I'm doing right now, and you can see that someone has made a change that they asked for, or if maybe someone put in a sneaky change that they didn't want the planner to see, this basically points it out straight away. And this works for, you know, PDF documents with just text, and it also works if you're using, you know, building drawings and plans such as this. So it's a really nice feature that actually allows us to do that. You can also, if you have markups that you previously had on a PDF before, you can actually import them into a new project or a new PDF as well. Okay, you can see here, if I just go to my markups, I have the ability to import it into, so that's really nice to be able to do that, because if a planner or something, or someone has marked up a drawing, wants to see if someone has actually done the things they've asked, they can import those PDFs and basically overlay them on what they're looking at. Okay, one other thing I suppose I should add as well, you see here that I have a lot of subfolders in my plans and project files. When you actually are creating a new project, it does give you the ability to use an existing project layout. So if you have different subfolders that you have already created, it might have taken you some time, you do have the ability, when you actually are creating a new project, to add a template. Now, where is that? And I'm actually forgetting how to do it, but you basically do have that ability to add that template as you're going along. So basically, if you have a lot of different folders that have already been created, you do have, you can just use the existing subfolders. So imagine that if someone in an office, like an architectural firm, has different subfolders or different project folders that they use all the time, maybe they might have folders for, you know, XREFs, little things like that. All that stuff can be uploaded to different folders in BIM 360, and they can be basically, if you use another feature in BIM 360 is the desktop connector. If you actually use that desktop connector, you can actually add those to an existing project, and you basically just have to show the correct path to the folder. Okay, and maybe I'll just show what that looks like. Basically, when you have BIM 360 desktop connector, you get this little BIM 360 icon here, and then you can click on the projects that you would actually have access to. You know, because I actually have different projects and different accounts that I have access to, you can see that I have a couple of different ones to click on. But basically, that's it. That's basically it. You basically just have to click on the correct folder that you want to go into, and then it brings you there. My one doesn't seem to be working right now, but that's basically it. Again, is there any questions? I hope if you guys did find this useful, that you download the trial. If you feel like you want to get in contact with either Dan or myself, again, this is
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up here, but if you want to keep your presentation card there up for a few minutes. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll be posting this presentation to our YouTube channel. Other than that, please take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.